Hello YouTube and welcome to the channel. Now then, if you're a regular here, you may or may not remember this. It's the Zroad Hunter that I reviewed a few weeks back. And if you cast your mind back to the video, you'll know that I really like this truck, but unfortunately towards the end of the video I chipped a tooth on the reduction gear, and that pretty much put paid to that. Ever since then I have been desperately trying to track down spares for these with no luck whatsoever. For some reason you cannot buy spares for these Zroad RCs, and this goes for the Hunter here, for the Comet Racer that Mr. Tomley sent me, and for the buggy, 1/10 scale buggy. I'm not sure why, but you just cannot get the spares for them, which is a real shame, because they are actually really quite good. Now then, after doing all that digging and searching around the internet and a little bit of help from Beyond RC, I have managed to track down a source of spares for these, which is very important if you actually have a Zroad. Now, these are actually direct copies of the trucks and vehicles made by Bonzai RC. So basically, for any Zroad, you can buy Bonzai RC spare parts and they should fit. So that's precisely what we're going to do today. We're going to fit this, we're going to take it out for another burn, because if you remember the video, I wanted to give this a second chance. And to be honest, up until a few days ago, I was pretty much going to do a video. I was going to just go and write it off, because if you can't get spares for a £100 plus truck, there really isn't any point in buying it, because as soon as you break something, that's it, you're stuffed. You either have to buy another one or you scrap it. But anyway, we're going to fit this, take it for a rip, and hopefully nothing else will fall off it. Now, despite me actually breaking this thing, it does seem really well screwed together. I mean, the actual reduction gear shaft that we're after runs in its own proper tunnel, and I'm hoping you can bolt something and take it out. But I think I've also got to remove these hex pins here to get at the diffs, so I can remove the diffs, and hopefully we might be able to drop it in from the bottom. That's what I'm hoping anyway, because at the moment there doesn't seem to be much chance of getting it out from the top, so it's got to really come out from the bottom. Now, that was actually one thing that surprised me with this RC, is the fact that it's not mega expensive, but they're all hex or Allen headed bolts that you get. Right then, that was actually a damn sight easier than I first anticipated. It did look horrendous to get to that shaft, but it turns out it's really straightforward. There's only like 6 bolts on each one of these sort of bottom diff covers. Unbolt them, you just sort of move them out of the way, and then you've got this little plastic cover that covers the central shaft. Lift that off, and there you go, you've got access to the main shaft. So it's actually really simple to get to. I'm really impressed with the design of this thing. It actually makes a lot of sense. You can also see the little brass bushings as well on the steering linkages, which is a nice little touch. So anyway, I'm going to get the old shaft out, bob the new one in, reassemble, and then hopefully re-grease as well, clean up some of this dirt that's accumulated inside the diff housings, and we'll take it for a blast. But before we do that, I just wanted to show you the culprit, and I don't know if you can see there on the video, we've got a chipped tooth on the reduction gear. I mean, it probably would have ran a little while longer quite happily with that, but eventually it would have started breaking other teeth off and ruining the pinion gear, so may as well bite the bullet and change the whole thing. Right then, I'm back inside with the Hunter. Now then, I don't know if you could tell off the video, but towards the end of it there was a distinct and clear clicky noise coming from the transmission on this thing. Now I've brought it back inside, I've put it on the bench. I thought I was going to find some worn or chipped teeth on a diff, or perhaps that gear had let go again, but I've had the diffs apart, I've checked everything, I can't see any appreciable wear on them. I can't see any appreciable wear on the bearings that hold the diffs in place, and there's definitely no wear on that new transmission shaft that I put in. So I'm struggling to find the problem at the moment. The only thing I can think of is that this one wheel at the back, I seem to have an awful lot of play in it, so I'm wondering if a bearing has collapsed possibly. But anyway, I'm going to take the wheel off, going to put this thing back together, take the wheel off and see what transpires. Right, I've been poring over this thing trying to find the source of this clicking. Now I found two possible issues. One is completely my fault. I don't know if you can see there, the hex pin is poking out of the plastic hex. I'm wondering if when I've tightened the wheel up, that hex pin has slipped and I've just literally tightened it up in that position, so it's causing everything to wobble around. So that is completely my fault. There's no doubt about it. Second of which, I might just have to put you down here actually if I extend the camera a little bit. I don't know if you can hear that. There's a little bit of slop between the reduction gear and the pinion gear on the end of the motor, so I'm wondering if that's causing the clicking. I wonder if we can do anything about the mesh, but I'll try and rectify these two problems and then see what happens. Do you ever get that feeling where you wish you'd never started something? Well, I think I finally may have got to the bottom of why this thing is clicking. Now, I don't think it's anything to do with the rear wheel, even though there's still some play in it. I have shimmed up part of the hub, which has got rid of some of the play, but I think some of it's actually in the wheel itself. I can't tighten the wheel properly onto that hex nut, which is probably my fault because I didn't do it right in the first place, and that's why the pin was sticking out, etc. So I've got a little tiny bit of play there, but I don't think that's the cause of the clicking. I think it's the actual adjustable motor mount. Now I think what's happened is when I've jumped it and chipped a gear, it's shocked, it's basically backed off the motor off of the reduction gear, so there's not the correct mesh there, because basically, I mean, I have slackened this off, but you can adjust the mesh on this motor mount, and what's happened is, as I've jumped it, it's backed itself off slightly, so there's incorrect mesh between the pinion and the reduction gear. Now it's actually worn, the pinion, I didn't think it was that badly worn actually when I first looked at it, but I think it's because it has backed itself off and worn a little bit further, and that's why it started clicking while we were out. Now, luckily, I did order a replacement pinion gear just in case that one was damaged. So I'm going to go ahead and change that, get the correct mesh, tighten everything up and see if that's cured it. Right then, I've pretty much got this sorted, I think. I've taken the old pinion off, put the new one on, Loctited the grub screw on, set the mesh, put some grease in there, and lo and behold, the clicking has disappeared. So I think I might just have hit the nail on the head with this. The only thing to do now is give it a quick whiz round and make sure it actually has disappeared. Right then, we're back inside, and second time's a charm. No funny knocks, rattles or rumbles or anything like that, just decent smooth power. So I think changing the pinion and meshing up the motor correctly has pretty much knocked the issue on the head. So I can move on and answer the initial question we left open-ended in the review video, and that is, would I recommend this? And I'm going to say, on the balance of things, I do really enjoy using this, and the parts have cured it. And first time around, I don't think it was the truck's fault, to be honest, because it literally happened after I jumped it. So I could only imagine that when it landed, because these shocks aren't oil filled or anything, it does bottom out dead easy. When I landed it, it's just caused the mesh on the motor to tighten up momentarily, possibly snapped one of the teeth off the reduction gear, and then it's loose and it's just backed itself off. So I'm going to stick my neck out and I'm going to recommend this to everyone. I really enjoy piloting this round. I find it really good fun. The handling is dead neutral. There's enough power off that 550 motor to make it entertaining, and I don't know, it's just got something about it. I really enjoy using it. So I would wholeheartedly recommend anyone purchasing one of these Zroad Hunters or the Bonzai Lycan equivalent. because I just find them really good fun. Now, before we go, a couple of thank yous. One is to Beyond RC for giving me some contact information for Bonzai RC, and the other is to Bonzai RC themselves because they helped me sort out the spares for this truck. Now then, if you've got one of these, just a little tip I found that it was very useful. Because the power leads aren't very long, you really struggle to put 2 batteries in this. But if you undo this cover here and take the power leads out from underneath them, it gives you a bit of extra length, and I've managed to mount 2 little lipos here on top of one another. Also, my other tip is to check this bolt here, which is the one that actually allows you to adjust the mesh on the motor. So every now and again you put a little Allen key on that and give it a tighten up. You'll stop the issues that I had from happening. All that's left for me to say then is, if you found this video of some use and interest, please give it a big thumbs up, and if you're feeling that way inclined, hit that subscribe button. It makes a massive difference to the channel. And thanks for watching, guys, and I will catch you again very, very soon. Thank you.